Time come when all of us say goodbye.
And welcome into episode 17 of the Noble Steady Sort of Sports Talk. And for our regular viewers, as you can tell, it's kind of a somber moment today. Um, it's been a rough few weeks for
Would you
sports
say?
wise.
Would you say today's a somber day?
Well, we're recapping some sad events. Our poor Saints just can't get it together. But and some other somber news is that Saints can't get together. Man, the Yankees did not perform the way we thought they would in the World Series. I mean, their fans had more aggression than it looked like than they did in their.
I tell you what,
games.
that dude, that dude's gonna get a damn statue somewhere,
dude. So when it first happened, for those who don't know, it's this fan that reached over and grabbed Mookie Betts, pretty much just grabbed his wrist. I was
trying to grab his glove off.
Yeah, crack Yankees glove off. When it first happened, it didn't look that bad in real time, but man, they slow that down. It looks like he is holding Mookie Betts up there, and so I kind of get where Mookie was pissed there. Let's just call a spade a spade. Aaron Judge does not perform like the MVP he probably will be this year.
Man, that one was rough.
Yeah, it was just rough all around.
My fellow Yankee fan at work was like, if that goon could just hit a home run and figure life out.
Yeah.
And of course, the day he does it.
And I think with the Yankees, the most frustrating part was look, we got down to a 3-0 hole for those who don't know, and they end up winning game 4. Game 5 rolls around. They have a 5-0 lead going into the 5th inning. If I'm not mistaken, correct? 5th, 6th inning, something like that.
The 5th inning.
5th inning. Yeah. Okay. I thought I was right. I just want to make sure I was 100% correct. 5th inning. 5 unearned runs. Are you kidding me? It's a comedy of errors. This is the New York freaking Yankees, man. You can't do that stuff in the World Series and be a champion. Look, Garrett Cole pitched his heart out that game. He gave it his all. But how are you not busting your butt up the line? I don't care if you think he has it. At least make that motion you're going up there. And if he has it, you back off. If not, but at least give yourself an opportunity.
That's the one fault I'll give Garrett Cole was that play. Granted, at the time when I watched it, I was just like, why is Rizzo just casually jogging to the plate, or to the base? Why aren't you dead sprint?
Yeah.
And so, that one, if you take out, wasn't that with 2 outs?
That was with 2 outs. That would have ended the inning.
That would have ended the inning.
And I think with no run scored or 1 run scored.
We would have talked about a game 6 on Friday.
100% would have talked about a game 6. But there's so much that goes into just the momentum of unforced errors, because not only does that give the Dodgers hope, it tenses up the Yankees.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be that next one that messes up, right? And you want to be, it's always an avalanche. And baseball, I feel like, is one of the sports that it happens the most in, or it's the more frequent, is that there's a lot of cascading moments, if you know what I mean, where things just kind of snowball effect, and you don't even have a real chance to just get a foothold on it. And that's exactly what happened here. They ended up losing by 1 run, and the rest. I mean, it's history. It's sad. I saw, was it Flaherty? Somebody said today, they were like, Yankees were the easiest team we faced in the playoffs, Dodger player.
And Joe Kelly.
Joe Kelly, that's who
he is. He has been leaning into Yankee hate
all
week. And it's like, okay, dude, that's great. He's just setting up for next year, hopefully, if we get back.
Well, lots going to go into that. I mean, so we'll jump into the offseason real quick in a minute. We'll jump into now. The first big story of the offseason was Garrett Cole opting out of his contract. As a Yankees fan, when I got that notification, I'm like, oh! But then, it took me a second to realize there was some it was just basically to guarantee the 2029 season of $36 million.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, wait, how is he opting out of his contract already? That opt-out isn't until 2029. But like you said, it's to guarantee that. And Both sides have come out and said that he's going to be a Yankee.
It's basically
Like,
just a financial.
don't worry
move.
about it. Yeah, which I don't blame either party for it.
Well, it's a protection on both sides, right? At that point. So when he signs that contract, the largest contract for a pitcher in history, yada yada yada, all that. But there's also it was a 10-year deal, something like that. And at the 5-year mark, there was an opt out for him, just in case it wasn't working out for him, right? But for the Yankees to if he exercises that for the Yankees to keep him, it guaranteed $36 million for 2029. It's an opt out for them because let's say he wasn't performing, they can just be like, yeah, no, we're not guaranteeing that money for that year and be able to save some money. But I think both sides agree that it's a good partnership, good relationship. I mean, Garrett Cole has been. I was reading something interesting on Bleacher Report, shout out Bleacher Report, of just different stats he led each different season. You know what I mean? Like if you don't count the injury seasons, but he's put in a great. I think he's 58-29 as a Yankee. Like to me, he's the face of the pitching staff, easily by far. Like you have Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole. That's pretty much his team right now. But let's get to the other big free agent that was a big cog in the machine this year. What's going to happen with Soto? You know the Yankees are going to make a big push, but you got to give it to him. He's going to explore all of his options as he should.
The thing that surprises me is that when I looked, when we were talking about it, I looked it up and I noticed that Soto signs 1-year deals every year. He's never had a multiple year deal, according to Sport Track. This is the first year that he could get one, and he could get one with the Yankees if they are willing to pay. It's not Georgia anymore; it's Hal, and Hal's been
very true.
less, less like forward about spending money and spending big money. He's been a little more frugal than his dad. But I think the only way that comes about is, if baseball were to ever get a salary cap, then maybe then you start like, okay, well, we don't have to pay him as much. I know one thing. I looked at the Dodgers payroll. They have a lot of deferred money.
Yo, yeah.
Freddie Freeman's got deferred money. Mookie Betts has deferred money. Shohei Ohtani has deferred money. Like they all are, kicking a can down the road in a few years. So I know baseball is never going to have a salary cap because how are you going to police that?
Yeah.
But will we see the Yankees do that for the first time ever? Have deferred money? Will we see him, Juan Soto make the $500 million that everyone says that he's going to get this offseason? It's yet to be seen, but I want Soto to come back. I think he's good for the Yankees, obviously, but it's ultimately up to him. Unfortunately,
I'm sure he's going to. Yeah, he's going to weigh his options. I mean, the guy's been paid multiple times since he's been in the league, so I don't know if money's going to be the entire thing of it. We can do an entire episode about deferred money. I'm not a huge fan of it. I feel like it's a little bit of just funny money because what's going to happen is that you're going to get to that point where it's time for that deferred money to become due, and they'll just end up doing a Bobby Bonilla fucking what do you call it? A like settlement.
It's deferred. It's deferred contracts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
they're going to say, "Oh, well, this is how much it's going to be," and then it's like, "Well, we'll just kick that can down the road." I mean, like while we're talking about it, I'll look up Mookie Betts really fast, just because he was a name that was brought up.
And Shohei's a perfect example. He only made $2 million this year.
So Mookie Betts right now, this is going into the 2025 season. He's going to make $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
According to Sport Track. Then next year it's 30 million until 2027. Then from 2028 to 2030 he makes 35 million. And then basically by the time he retires, if he retires at 39, it's 32.5 million for the last 2 years of his contract. But then you look at deferred money, he'll be paid till he's 51 in 2044. And it goes 2033 is 10 million, 2034 is 10 million, 2035 9 million, 2036 8 million, 2037 8 million. It's pretty much averaging out $10 million a year for another 10 years after the end of his contract.
Oh yeah.
So
Look, for the players, it's a sweet deal. You know,
I mean, when he initially signed with the Dodgers, it was a 12-year, $365 million contract. So, you're not getting all that money
no.
up front. I'm actually interested to see, now that I think about it, because I said the Yankees haven't done this yet.
If they actually have.
If maybe Aaron Judge's contract.
So here's my thing about deferred money, right? To me,
and Aaron Judge is not deferred, by the way. It's $40 million straight per year.
And see, to me, that's BS. And there needs to be at least a rule against that, right? Because here the Yankees are cutting a $40 million check instead of just being like, hey, come play for us now, Aaron. We'll give you $3 million this year. And then we'll pay you the extra $37 million 15 years from now.
I think that's up to the club.
Well, it's 100%. It's 100% up to the club. But okay. What I mean by this, Joe, is do you think if they didn't have contracts with deferred money, do you think the Dodgers are actually able to afford the roster they have? And that's the issue. That's the problem.
Absolutely not.
So they're committing themselves for 20 years on these deals when most of these players are going to be retired. And it's great for the players. Absolutely great for the players. I think it's a legal loophole that MLB should really look into because it provides an unfair
I think the problem is the only way that you can do anything about it is if a salary cap comes in and they say, starting this year, no more deferred contracts.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can do that with that.
Like you say, like 2028. I'm just throwing a year out there.
Yeah, no, you have to put a deadline in the future on it.
This is the last year you get deferred money. After that, you can't do that anymore. But I mean, the clubs have a business plan. Yeah, I mean, I just looked up Juan Soto and Aaron Judge and Mookie Betts' contracts and could see the pay breakdown.
Yeah.
Per team, or per whatever. So it's basically gonna come to a point where it's gonna get so bad, and then you're gonna have a team get sold
and have to
that owner try to say, I'm not honoring that deal. That's what it's going to come down to. You're going to have that kind of fight.
Yeah. I mean, it's a slippery slope for sure. And like I said, we can talk a whole episode about this and the ins and outs and why it's not fair and everything like that, or my personal feelings on it. Like I agree with you that it's going to have to be a set date and time of being like, hey, by this year, we're going to need you to be cap compliant. Here's a number kind of thing. Or, no more deferred money contracts after this year. And then by 2035, you need to have all that money on your books accounted against your cap. That kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
But Joey, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I will say, I do want to add just kind of more roster news. Anthony Rizzo's option was not picked up by the Yankees, so he is now a free agent.
I'm not shocked by that. He's been dealing with a little bit of injuries and everything like that, and he looked rough moving a little bit.
You know who looks rough moving?
Stanton.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not in the best shape of my life,
no.
At all. I could outrun Stanton.
That dude,
I could beat him to first base on a full sprint. That's what I felt like watching him.
Do you think, he's always been a guy that's had a lot of injury issues, right? Do you think it's just the amount of force that his swing is with? And his body just can't handle it or something?
It has to be, because
it's
when he was with the Marlins, what position did he play?
I want to say outfield, but do not quote me on that.
I think you are right, because I think at one point with the Yankees it was him, Judge, and Gardner. Was Gardner there?
I believe Gardner was. It was either after Gardner.
I think it was those three in the outfield. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But that's why he's DHing, because
he can't move.
You just hope he can crank one out the park and he doesn't have to sprint.
I mean, the ALCS, man, he was rocking and rolling.
He was looking like he could have been the World Series MVP if he'd have hit like that, but
yeah. But Joe, is there anything else you want to add about the Yankees real quick?
Man, that one hurt.
It did.
That
It
one
did.
hurt. Like, if that fifth inning, I watched it. I watched game 4 at a bar, and then game 5, I was like, hey, I got to do the same thing. I also got superstitious enough that I was like, what if I bet for the Dodgers to win in game 4? And it worked. So in game 5, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it again.
You had to.
But wait. So I'm like, I'll make it a little better. So that way, if they lose, I still win. I bet Freddie Freeman was going to hit a home run. Mookie Betts was going to get 2 bases. And then, I think the Yankees players to get 2 bases and the Dodgers money line. Freddie Freeman didn't hit a home run, and Mookie Betts was 1 base away from. If I'd have got those 2 things to happen, I'd have won $300. So I wouldn't have been as sad. Dude. But I'm like, come on, the time I do this. So
it is hard to bet again on the team that's playing your team because you're like, yay! Oh no.
Yeah, I would have been like, son of a, if those things would have hit, I'd have been like, man, that sucks. But at least I won $300. But I didn't even win that.
There's $300.
Yeah, I have $300 in my account now. But no. So on the way, I left before the end of the 9th inning because I'm like, I don't want to see it.
Yeah,
it just. I'll listen to it, but that's it. So I pulled up on Sirius XM the Yankees broadcast, and John Sterling, the legendary radio voice of the Yankees, goes,
yes,
that 5th inning was disgraceful baseball. And it's as soon as he said that, it just went like, you're right. That was terrible baseball. They were making little league mistakes.
Thank you. I was just about to say.
And it's like, okay, so Judge hitting it off the end of his glove and dropping it. If that's the only mistake that happened, I'd be like, okay, I can kind of live with that.
Stuff happens.
But then you have, was it Volpe throwing the third to Jazz Chisholm? Mm-hmm. Terrible throw.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well have just said, look, I'll give you third, take second, take that out. Hopefully get the double play.
Which most of the time you don't throw to third, though.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what are you doing? And then, like you said, the Garrett Cole, Anthony Rizzo, I'm just going to call that a miscommunication.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen. Like, if I'm first base and I pick it up, I'm at least starting to run to first in case my pitcher can't make it, because no one's beaten Mookie Betts to first base.
What's what I'm saying?
He's quick.
It's just he's very fast. He's very fast. It was, I think, the most annoying thing was just the point and the expectation of you handling.
It's like, hey, you have it.
And then Rizzo's like, oh, wait, he's supposed to be there. I'm not going to do this on my own. It's like, dude, come on, man. This is simple.
I think if anything, it's you start to run the first and you go, do you have it? And if he goes, I got it, then okay, I'll slow up. But
I've always been, go ahead.
If he doesn't respond, you sprint, which you're taught. If you're the pitcher and the ball hits to the first baseman, you cover first.
You're getting called off by the first baseman.
Yeah,
that's the rule.
There was no call off, and I think when it happened, he looked. He's like, "Oh, he called me off," and he's like, "No, wait, he's not calling me off. You got to get him." I don't know.
I also think Rizzo Cole thought it was hit a little bit harder than it actually was, or hit a little softer. AKA, he thought it was gonna be close to the base. He thought,
yeah. And honestly, when you look at the play itself, Rizzo could have gotten there, and he could have done it.
Yeah.
So that's where my idea of Rizzo just needs to run. He could have made it.
No, I agree with you.
But I'm not a baseball player. I don't pretend to be one on TV or anything like that.
On TV.
Yeah.
On my appearances.
I just watch momentum videos on YouTube and laugh at them hysterically.
Great follow. If y'all aren't watching those videos, just them and Eric Sims. He's a part of it, but he has
Eric Sims is funny. Trevor Bauer's really good, YouTube wise.
Yeah,
teaching the game, especially.
I'm about to say entertainment and teaching is where he is on that one. So, is there anything else in the world of baseball that you want to talk about right now?
Watch Game 7 on Prime, episode 1.
Got it.
Really good one, especially if you're a Yankees fan. If you're a Red Sox fan, watch it too, because it reminds you of Aaron fucking Boone.
So, as we were talking about deferred money and deferred contracts and everything like that, and we described it as kicking the can down the road, I'd like to bring up the subject of kicking the can down the road with one of I'll say my favorite sports franchise. The one I ride and die with, and I will always support, even though if I hate them like I do right now, is New Orleans freaking Saints. And for those uninitiated, yesterday at the time of the recording, the wonderful Saints fell to the 1-7 and widely considered worst team in the league, Carolina Panthers, 23-22. And we can even call this a Tyler's tirade section if we want to start doing a new segment like that. This had to be one of the worst excuses of a football game I've ever watched in my life. The amount of mistakes. I don't think people realize we had 110 yards of penalties. You know what? That's a football field plus freaking 10. What are we doing? Seriously. The lack of discipline, the lack of tackling. And yes, I know injuries. I freaking get it. But the team has given up. The only one that hasn't given up is Alvin Kamara. And you know what? That man deserves a spot in the Saints Hall of Fame. If he doesn't already have it, it should be cemented.
Did I see that he hit 1,000 yards rushing for the first time in his career in a season?
He hit 1,000 yards total offense.
He's total offense. He's on pace for 1,000 yards rushing.
Receiving.
Okay.
Rushing, yes. He has never rushed for 1,000 yards. He's always been a complimentary back, more receiving back. Yeah. No, you're 100% right on that one.
Okay.
Look, so let's talk about this game. First big thing, Chris Olave. Thoughts and prayers to him. I think there really needs to be a serious conversation about his long-term health. I don't think he needs to play again this season. There's no need for a team that's not going anywhere.
He needs to get the Tua treatment of just relax. Because he had a bad concussion at Ohio State. He had 5 total
since he's been drafted.
So he's had 6 really bad concussions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
you might want to hang it up, buddy.
I don't think he's going to hang it up
just for his safety. Well, no, he's not, because it's his 3rd year.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is, I think he gets shut down for the rest of this season easily, because there's something going on with his body that's making him more susceptible.
Yeah.
To I do know English, I promise. Susceptible to head injuries, and it's just long-term health. We want to make sure he's okay.
I think the other problem is having the concussion, coming back, and then just going right into it, and then getting another one
2 weeks after the last.
That's the problem that Tua had. That's the problem. Who
a lot of guys have been having.
Dale Jr. had it in 2016 when he had 2 concussions, pretty close. He had to sit the rest of the season that one year. So, and that's one of the bigger names that you hear concussions you talk about. But Sidney Crosby missed a whole year of hockey because of concussions. Just kind of pump the brakes. You want to play this game for a long time. Sit out. It's okay. We're not going to be mad at you if you're worried about your health and you want to be back fully healthy next season. Just relax.
Oh, I'm talking about the organization needs to just put him on IR and just have a conversation with him. Look, you're still going to get paid.
But I think also part of it is, he wants to be out there.
Oh, 100%.
He's got to come to the front office and be like, listen, I'm by no means giving up on this team. I want to be healthy for us next year when we start the brand new season with a new coach that we'll talk about in a second. And
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, in case you lived under a rock on Monday, November 4th. So, but it's at some point you have to, police yourself, and then maybe it'll help police the franchise.
Yeah, it's best all around. I think at the very least he goes in IR easily. Probably doesn't play again this year if I had to guess. Thoughts and prayers to him. He did come back into the building after going to the hospital and getting checked out, so that's a very good sign. But you look to that, the defense again. We're playing the Panthers, man, and yeah, it's going to sound like a shot against the Panthers, but they know it too. They're not a top tier offense. We should have had no issue, and then offensively, we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot, from penalties to just not being able to finish drives off. which I mean is a really determining factor, is the fact that we couldn't. The first 2 drives we got in the red zone, kick field goals, 6 points instead of 7. I mean 3 points instead of 7. And that directly affected the outcome of this game. Got to shout out probably the best interception I've ever seen in my life. That was an awesome play, intercepting it from Leggett. The guy's name is escaping me right now. Was it Charles or something like that?
I'll look
The
it up for
cornerback.
you. I'll look it
Yeah,
up for you.
that escapes my mind. Alvin Kamara, hats off to you. 29 touches or 29 touches, over 100 yards rushing. It
was Shamar Jean Charles.
I knew it was Charles.
Got the interception. I saw that. I texted, we have a group message that goes back and forth, but during Saints games, and I texted that group and said, that's play of the year. Easily.
And the thing that makes it so exciting, Joe, it's a pure effort play, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a not giving up on the play. I'm going to see this till the whistle through. And that's what you want to see from young guys like that are getting an opportunity. Now, it's always an all rainbows. And then the other thing that drove me nuts, we were the only team, I think, to outrush our opponents by 150 yards or have 150 yards rushing or outrush it by 150 yards, something like that. And have all these other metrics and basically just outgain them by all this yardage. I think it's like 270 to 0 or 1. And we're that 1 now. That is insane.
I did see that stat. Stat.
And to me, it just looks like the team gave up. Like it wasn't how, if we were going to lose that game, it was how we were going to lose that game. Did you have that feeling watching it?
I watched it and, I thought like, oh, maybe we can turn it around. I didn't get that feeling until the fourth quarter where I'm like,
okay, that's fair.
How can we lose this?
But
how are we going to lose this game?
A few things I want to point out.
Because I also didn't want to let negativity take me over and be like, hey, we're going to lose this game.
I didn't have a good feeling going into it, I'll be honest with you. One other thing I want to touch, some other things I want to touch on. Bryce Young sounds like a child when he's calling a cadence in a huddle. I mean, cadence on the field.
I wouldn't say child. I would just say like, he's just kind of like
a teenager.
Hey, hut. And then
we good.
He puts some like oomph in it when like his cadence is clearly like you could tell when they're gonna hike the ball.
That was one thing that caught me. The big key play. I mean, the game came down to a 4th down, and we threw it to the best fade ball receiver we have apparently, in Cedric Wilson. Fourth and 2. 4th and 1, 4th and 3, somewhere in that range, and we throw a fade route 25 yards down the field. Why? It'll drive, and I try to give our guy a chance to play. Maybe if you took the fucking eyeliner off, you would be able to see.
It's not eyeliner. He just has really bright eyes.
I don't give a shit. Get his ass the fuck out of here. I'm so like, and the thing is that your coach is even coming out and said, well, that play was to Juwan Johnson going over the middle or an inside option route.
I think that just adds to the we want DA out like attitude that the Saints have. I think that just adds to it. Like, I don't know who was it. You sent us or someone sent us the video of Alvin Kamara talking to the media after the game. And he was basically like,
I'm about to say that was the most, we don't like our coach and we can't stand this guy, but I'm not going to say it out loud, but you could every way he said it. He chose his words very carefully. You could tell.
Yeah.
So, needless to say, they lost the game, like I said before. And the breaking news this morning was Dennis Allen out as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, and Darren Rizzi is now taking over as the interim head coach.
I found that out in the weirdest way possible. I'm sitting at my computer downloading files, and my boss goes, "Well, they finally pulled the trigger." I'm like, did something get sold? Did did Alabama fire Caleb DeBoer? Like, what's going on? And he goes, DA's gone.
His boss is an Alabama fan.
Yeah. I'm like, DA's gone. Like, they pulled the trigger on that? He goes, yeah. And I'm like, hold on. Go on the Google, pull up ESPN.
On the Google.
Saints fire head coach. I go, oh my God, we can. We know how to do it. And
this is,
I'll say this. I feel like it wasn't this week that decision was made.
This was the final straw.
I feel like, I think after the Saints lost to Denver.
Oh, I think that's when they turned the burner on the seat.
I think that's when Gale went to the team, because there was a report. Gale Benson went to the team, went to the players and said, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yep.
And they all said, "It's the coaching." And so the straw that broke the camel's back was losing to the worst team in the NFL. And by the worst team in the NFL, I don't just mean like, oh my God, they're bad. I mean like their scoring point differential for the season is minus 146, and there's nobody else in triple digits. That's how bad this team is.
Joe, we beat this team 47-10 the first game of the season.
Put this hat on backwards because it's.
You can't.
I'm getting serious for a second.
You can't tell me that they have gotten that much better and we've gotten that much worse in the stretch. Because of injuries.
After week 2, we had a plus 62 point differential. After this skid, we have fallen down to a minus 22 point differential. That's 80-point swing in the wrong direction.
And it's not just the fact that we're losing the game. I'm glad you brought that stat up. Thank you for the point differential swing. It's not that we're just losing games. It's the way we're losing them, right? Like yesterday was the example of snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory.
Let's walk through it. Okay.
Yeah, we can go game by game.
We were plus 62 after the Cowboys game, right?
Yep. Just absolutely skull dragging people. Yep. Mm-hmm.
The next week was the Eagles, lost by a field goal.
Eric McCoy's a big injury.
I'll give him a break on that. Following week, we lose to the Falcons by 2. That was a game-winning field goal.
That was a boneheaded way to lose that game.
Right.
Let's call it what it is.
Still plus 57.
Yeah.
Then we run into the Chiefs.
13-point difference, I think is what it was. 26-13.
Yeah. So then my math is mathing. Now we're plus 44.
Now, let's be fair. This is when Derek Carr went out. Okay, we'll be fair. We'll be fair to the team. This is when Carr went out.
Right.
So these scores without that.
Then, the game was close against Tampa until the fourth quarter.
Oh, you mean the doors got blown off? Yeah.
Where it was 51-27, which 25. It's a 24. So now we're plus 20 point differential. Then the Broncos show up.
And the fact that we just didn't even show up to that game.
And that's where
I understand injuries.
And that's where we fall to the negative. -3.
And then it's all over at that.
Yeah. Once we hit that point, it's like, okay, what are we doing? When I heard this, and then when I heard the Saints were winning against the Chargers, what was it? Or what was the score of that game at the start?
2-0.
Yeah. When we're up 2-0, I'm like, are you talking about the Southampton Saints or
Yeah, right. We're playing soccer, baseball.
Yeah. So once that happened, I'm like, this season's done. I'm over it.
And so let me get your opinion on this. Now that we're talking about the season and everything like that, don't get me wrong. This team was absolutely annihilated by injuries. I'm not saying, and I think a lot of people are getting that misconstrued about well, it's not Dennis Allen's fault with the injuries. No, it's not. It really isn't. What his job is, though, is to get the team that is available ready to play. And there was at least 3 different occasions where this team was not ready to play at all.
Easily.
And that's the problem. That's the issue with DA, is that the team was never ready, but his calling card was always the defense being great. And once the defense is not the superpower anymore, what's the reason to keep him around? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Tyrann Mathieu pretty much said that today. Well, not in those exact words, but he was basically saying, he's a great defensive coach. I feel like we failed him and let him down. And at a certain point, I don't disagree with that. But it's also on them to get you ready to play. And I don't feel like they were given that at all. There's no reason to lose 33-10 to the Broncos and have 10 days and then come out and lay a freaking egg against the Chargers.
Yeah. To me, it boils down to the fact that you never improve the offensive line.
No.
You got to the point where they were playing better, when you had Eric McCoy healthy, that was the best I'd ever. I sat there and you and I went to that training camp and I said, if our offensive line is a liability, we're gonna suck.
Oh, yeah.
It's just as simple as that. If our offensive line can block, Derek Carr can do wonders behind the line with passes. Eric McCoy goes down, the dominoes just start falling. So in my mind, if Eric McCoy doesn't go down, DA is still our coach. We may be
I think the defense was.
we may be like 4-5, but a 4-5 team in the NFC South, we're 2 games up behind Atlanta. It's
No,
possible.
no, just. And look, I guess it's kind of what DA said. Like, well, we have good tape on this team. We had those first 2 games. Yeah, but things have changed. The story's kind of out on the team. I mean, you look at the 2 teams we beat. Dallas is not a good team. Carolina is not a good team, even though they beat us. I'll still stand by that. We're the better team, but the team gave up yesterday. Let's call it what it is. What I will say is that I am happy that they made this move. Not in the aspect that Dennis Allen's no longer the coach. Yes, I don't think he was the right man for the job, and I'm not ever rooting for somebody to lose their job. What I will say is it's a step and a sign that the organization knows that this isn't right and knows that this is broken. I think a lot of Saints fans, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, fear was that we were going to try to run this back again next year just because of all the injuries with all just basically. And look, the fact that we're even here talking about that could have been used as an excuse should tell you how many injuries we're actually facing. It's just the effort, the penalties, the comments after the games from the players. It all adds up. And he's just not the leader this organization needs. Now, don't get me wrong, there is now going to be a long rebuild here. This is not going to be an overnight easy fix, New Orleans. We're not going to have a 3-13 season or 3-14 now, that's 17 games, and then go 10-6 like we did in 2006 when we flipped the switch. I just do not see it happening this time around.
Unless we light up the draft class and figure out free agency and trade away key pieces.
So unless we do everything right.
Yeah, basically. If we basically just go like, oh, hey, this thing over here, we need to do that over there, it's not happening.
Well, here's the thing, too, that's really disappointing about this three-year stretch is that they have taken, in these 3 years, have taken the foundation and the culture and everything that Sean Payton built up. And yeah, he didn't leave in the best way. We'll always say that. But that Sean Payton and Drew Brees built up the foundation of how to win has been utterly just massacred in these last 3 years. They've cleared out the offensive coaching staff, which needed to happen. Don't get me wrong. They've cleared out the defensive coaching staff, got all his people in there. Dennis Allen in there. They got Derek Carr, Dennis Allen's guy, in there, quarterback, and it just hasn't worked. You have backed Mickey, and this is directly at Mickey Loomis. I'm looking directly in the camera here. Mickey Loomis, you backed the wrong horse here. He may be a nice guy, but you have royally screwed this roster, and I don't know how you're going to fix it. So good luck. Would you like to add anything?
And don't chew gum like a dick.
Bro. God,
don't do it. Don't do it. Every time I bring it up, you act like him. Don't do it right now.
I'm not.
Don't do it
as
right
much
now.
as I want to.
You're sitting there going,
as long as we look past the results, though, okay?
I wanted to headbutt. I wanted to headbutt.
So I'm not going to lie to you.
When he said that.
I'm not going to lie to you. I may or may not have gone under every one of his past few videos of him defending Dennis Allen and saying, but you got to look past the results, right? You got to look past the results, right? I've gotten a lot of clicks on that, though. That's pretty funny. It's, man, I don't know. I feel like it's definitely not a 1-year fix. I was talking to somebody earlier today. So let's get into it, Joey. Let's put on our GM caps, okay? If you're the Saints right now, are you just saying, "Hey, we're going to take the quarterback now, let him grow as we build a team around him," or are you of the mind of saying, "Hey, this isn't a strong quarterback class like last year's was. Let's take the pieces surrounding. Let's take some pieces that will surround him and suffer through one more season, Derek Carr or something, and then go for the quarterback in 2026." Or are you the fact like, if you can get him now, get him now?
I think because, like you said, there's like what quarterbacks are coming up.
So I'm glad you asked that. So the tops are going to be like your Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, Aller kind of fell off a little bit, but it's not a super strong class.
I think the only way you take a quarterback number one, because let's be real, we're going for the number one pick at this point.
Hey,
And
look,
if the Saints are smart, they'll just say, "Hey, look, we're tied for the number one pick. Just go for it. Let's see what we can get star wise."
Mhm.
The only way you pick a quarterback early like that this year is if somehow you say, "Hey, Dion, you want to coach your kid in the
I love
pros?
it.
You want to coach your kid in the pros? Come on down. We'll take care of you. We got the best doctors that can help you with your feet. You want a golf cart to go everywhere? Boom, done. You want us to hit your theme music? Your theme music was our theme music at one point. We'll bring Shador. Come on, you could bring your Louis with you. That's
dome.
it. That's it. Play the dome. You get a good deal with Caesars. I guarantee it. They will gladly pick you up.
So I'm just saying, I threw that out there earlier.
You did, and that's why I said it. I'm like, this is the only. That's when you said that earlier. I'm like, if that happens, then we're definitely getting a quarterback early because there's no way Shador or Dion would not want to coach Shador in the pros.
But hear me out though, too. It's the same colors.
Yeah, your wardrobe don't have to change. Your wardrobe don't have to change.
Much sense. Make it happen, Mickey. Look, I don't know if he'd be a good fit. I don't know if he'd be a good team.
Hey,
I know it'd be entertaining though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it would show. It would show.
At the
Hey,
very least.
Because at that point, I think at that point, honestly, I think Dion would be a really good pro coach.
I think so.
Because he'll have the players who play now that are like, I remember when you were in the pros, and I remember how good you were, and they'd hear what he has to say and go, "Hey, that works." Like he knows the business. I think honestly, like if
don't get too excited about this. I don't see it happening.
I
don't see it happening, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah, when you sit there and you just go like, this could happen. But
so here's my line of thinking. What I would think would be a good, you know what? If we get a top 5 pick and Will Campbell's there from LSU, the offensive tackle, you take him, put him on the left side, kick Fuaga to the right side, because unfortunately it doesn't look like Ramchek's going to play again. There's your bookend tackles. You do whatever you want with Trevor Penning. At this point, I don't care. I don't care. Bust McGee can just go bust somewhere else for all I care.
I'm ready to not have to deal with
like what offensive lineman? What offensive lineman do you know in the same season has gotten a face mask penalty and a blocking a smaller defender out of bounds? Like, come on, bro. Like, is trying to keep this PG? Is like, are you that insecure that you need to freaking show off all the time? Like, come on, bro. Like, it was a bad pick when we made it. It's a typical Mickey Loomis, but they have all the intangibles and traits. Look how big and strong they are and fast.
I won't say that was. I won't necessarily say that was a bad pick when we drafted him. I thought he had upside. That if Sean Payton was still here, it would, he would at least get the best out of him. And I'm pretty sure that the year that Sean Payton was here, that wasn't the first year that we drafted him. Was Sean Payton's last year? Okay.
21 was Sean Payton's vet last year. He was drafted in 22 with Olave.
Okay. So
and I'm sorry, the only reason I know that is I was at that draft. So
never mind then. That's right. You were. Forgot about that.
Yeah. So look,
my biggest problem right now is this. Okay. we talk about kicking the can down the road. The Saints are known to kick the can down the road, salary cap wise. Right now, we are 7th in the league in dead money for next year with $16,774,507. We are last in cap space with negative $77,383,172. Why? Like, we're borrowing money from next year to be like, well, hopefully these deals work. And then Mickey Loomis, who I still want you to do my taxes because somehow you figure this out, will find a way to get us out of cap hell. That's the only selling point that a new coach has for this franchise is, hey, I can work the numbers to get you the space you need. I'll make this will be a signing bonus. This will just, we'll give it to him, blah, blah, blah.
The issue
we're 5 million under. We're 5 million under now. We're 77 million over next year.
Oh yeah.
And
that's not
what are you going to do? Hey, the next year we're going to do it again. Like,
that's essentially what their thought was. Yeah. 100%. They're like, yeah, that's next year's problem. And here's the issue with that. Okay. If you go, and the reason why the Saints were able to do that for so long is because they drafted well. They would have awesome draft classes. So you get cheap talent. Like, look at 2017. We had some other spots here and there with some guys in the middle rounds that have contributed, but Marcus Davenport, not on the team. Peyton Turner might as well not be on the freaking team because he can never stay healthy. All guys that were like, when we're drafting, I'm like, why? And with Marcus Davenport, you essentially use 3 draft picks on him. But on like Peyton Turner, most people weren't considering drafting him until the 3rd round. But he has all the physical traits. Oh my God. Like, can he play football though? Can he stay healthy? If he stubs his toe getting out of the fucking ice bath, is he going to be out for 4 weeks? It's shit like that. And when you don't draft well and your overpriced players get hurt and get old like they have now, this is what happens when you have guys that should be on practice squads playing for you. This entire disaster is on Mickey Loomis. And if he wasn't tied into the sale of the Saints, I'd be worried about his job.
Well, they were talking today that, because I was listening to any kind of video I can talking about.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That, there was a chance that it would just be like normal franchises would have been like, hey, get out. But they said their words were he's done so much for the franchise that he's kind of just, he's stuck. And it's like you said, no, he's part of the succession plan for the team. So just got to hope that whoever is in that succession, like whoever gets the team after, will just go, thanks, Mickey. Now go enjoy retirement.
Well, but here's the thing, Joey. If there's no threat of repercussions or anything or accountability, what's the point? Why change what you're doing?
When did it get known that he was part of the plan?
When it was released.
Which was when?
2020, 2021-ish. Give me one. I'll look it up for you, but go ahead. What do you think?
Because if it is in that time frame, that's when the team started dipping. Maybe that's why Sean Payton was like, yeah, I'm not a part of it. I'm out. Bye, see ya. And it sucks too, because if Sean Payton would have left and said, hey, like, I just want to go find another, like, I want to go try to build another team, and been honest about it, I wouldn't have had a problem with him being in Denver, coming here. I'd have been like, yay, like, thank you for everything. But because he went to TV and he's like, I'm going to TV, I'm not going to coach anywhere. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm coaching Denver. It's like,
yeah, he's taking a Belichick path. You know what I mean? Because Belichick's going to do the same thing.
Yeah. You think?
Oh, 100%. There's no way he doesn't coach next year. I think that Dallas could be one. I mean, yeah, I don't think it comes here. But unless they unless they just say, hey, Mickey Loomis is just going to be like the president, executive vice president of operations, but you're going to be the GM and everything like that, then go. Which, I'll be honest with you, I don't want that. I honestly
think that Belichick would become a GM first before he becomes a coach again.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that too.
I just don't see him coaching again. I feel like he's comfortable. Like he's more
comfortable dating
relaxed.
24-year-olds. He's.
I wasn't gonna bring that up, if you want to.
I mean, there's a ring. Come on, everybody knows that. Come on now.
I know.
It's just. I think right now, this purely what I would like to see. I would like to see an offensive-minded head coach come in. I've heard some people say that defensive-minded coaches could be in consideration, and then keeping Clint Kubiak around, and basically just being like, "Hey, this is your offense. Do with it how you will."
I've heard that too.
One name I've heard that's quite interesting that I think would be a good hire, and would be interesting at the very least, and that'd be Brian Flores.
I've heard that name too. I've heard a few names.
I've heard Brian Flores is because the only thing I think that will stop him is I don't know exactly what happened with his lawsuit against the NFL.
I feel like if he's coaching in the NFL right now, I'm pretty sure that's.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want another Sean Payton kind of thing where it's like, oh, where that conspiracy theory comes about, where it's like, oh, they're just trying to get back at him, which I'm guessing is the point you were trying to make.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
I don't want that to happen again. I've heard him. I've heard the offensive coordinator in Detroit.
Oh God.
I've heard the defensive coordinator at Detroit.
So Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, I've heard a lot.
Yes, I've heard him a lot.
Yeah, he played for us. He's turned that defense around. I wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't be my first choice though, but I would not hate it.
I have two names that you probably haven't even hit your radar. I could probably guess the reaction on one, which I'm gonna say that one first. John Gruden.
I just don't see him coming back to the NFL.
Only because, well, right now he's working with a team in Italy. I think I saw.
Yeah.
He's been an advisor for the Saints last year.
I think he's persona non grata though. To be honest, just NFL wise, I wouldn't hate it to be honest with you, because right now, Joey, in this interim, while we get through this cap hell that we're going to go through, that should finally go through, we need somebody strong that can weather that storm.
That's why I think he would be the perfect person, because he could sit there and be like, "Hey, we got to rough it out for a little bit. Let's see what cheap talent we can get. What can we get in the draft? What can we get in those late rounds?" He's got a really good nose for talent.
Oh yeah. My only question would be, would he want to do that? Like, he's not a spring chicken anymore. He's not old by any stretch of the imagination, but does he want to wait around?
61, I think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Does he want to commit to a rebuild?
That's true.
Like, for what I would like to see here and now, granted, I know they don't grow on trees, okay? But it's like a Sean McVay type, Kevin O'Connell, Shane Steichen, guys that have defensive coordinators that have been either head coaches or somewhere else or whatever, and let them handle the defense, and focus all their time on offense, because that's what needs to be fixed right now. The defense is, it's just, we need youth. We're just old, man. I mean, let's call it what it is. The offense, we're kind of lacking talent. Let's call it what it is.
I could see that. Yeah. I'm trying to. I just pulled up an article that at the Saints at one point were talking about him coming and actually joining the staff. The other name is a name that just recently got out of coaching football because he was fired. Mike Vrabel.
I would love this one. Leader of men, I think, has the stones to handle a hard rebuild like this is. And he's going to establish his own culture here. I don't know what happened in Tennessee that made them decide to go a different way. But I would absolutely, I think that's a home run. If he is willing to take on this challenge, which he does strike me as the kind of guy that would be like, yeah, I'm in to be the guy that fixes the Saints. So I love that one.
So currently right now, he is a consultant with the Browns. So if he wants to get into coaching again, this is a good place. because I don't think he'd want to be with the Browns after this year.
No, he definitely wants to get back into coaching. I think
Yeah.
he was a little surprised he didn't get any of the jobs. You know what I mean?
I'm surprised. Yeah, the more I think about it, I mean, like Busted with the Boys, they were shocked when they saw Vrabel got fired.
A lot of people were. That was
Yeah.
one of the ones that kind of came out left field.
I think that had to do with quarterbacks.
Yes.
I think that was a big reason because like he wanted somebody and they wanted him to start Will Levis, and he's like, no, this guy's not ready, and he's like, okay, I'm out.
Well, that and the fact
I think I heard a rumor about that, and I think that came out that that's true.
That, and I also heard the AJ Brown thing was a big point of contention.
Yes.
Them, where
I did hear that.
Yeah, I mean, because you can see it on draft night when the trade's announced, he's like, ugh. And it's, you know, and I get where he's coming from. It's like, look, you're trading one of my best offensive players for a rookie. You know, like we know what we got in this guy. Just pay him. We don't know what we got in this rookie. And Treylon Burks is a great special teamer.
I just dropped him.
Yes, yeah.
I dropped him in fantasy. He was on my taxi squad for a while. He was on IR for a little bit. I said, the Rain City bitch pigeons have no need for you right now.
Don't you love that when you look at your roster and you're like, man, I got to clean this thing up. I call it spring clean.
I tell you
what happens in the spring after I get after draft rolls. I'm like, no, you go.
I'm going to be, I have a lot of people to do that too this year. Also, freaking my Yahoo League, since we're going to let's talk a little fantasy football. I have all but one player that produced points on my bench. The rest of them were on IR.
It's not fun. Yeah, dude. Look, you're
Taysom Hill
here, bro.
Taysom Hill got 14 points on my bench, and if I would have started him over Cole Kmet, who got me a giant goose egg, I wouldn't have to worry about Harrison Butker getting me 3 points.
I mean, yeah, the Cole Kmet thing. He's just that entire Chicago offense is just weird, man. Because it's the same offensive coordinator that used to coach in Seattle from last year, and it's just, dude, I am not a fan of Shane Waldron, man. Especially when it comes to fantasy football wise. It's like, dude, can you just establish who the number one receiver is and just throw him the ball?
Yeah, because I'd like DJ Moore to catch a little more than what he has.
Thank you. Like, he hasn't been bad, but I missed the 20-point games instead of the 7 or 4. It's like, what are we doing here? Oh, man. We can go for hours.
It's been bad.
And Christian McCaffrey, if you want to show back up anytime soon, appreciate it, buddy. But
he's supposed to come back this week.
Yeah, he practiced today, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, yeah, so that's where we're kind of going. I would love, like I said, the only thing I want to touch back on the Lions offensive coordinator. I know everybody wants him. Don't get me wrong. He would be my number one choice. I just don't think he comes. I don't think I think he's cherry picking his first spot, which I don't blame him, man. I mean, not a lot of people get a second chance at a head coaching gig, but he's already turned down. The Commanders.
He turned down being talking about Gruden.
No. Ben Johnson.
Oh yeah, no.
The Lions head coach. I mean, the Lions offensive coordinator.
I think he just likes it. I think he wants to win a Super Bowl in Detroit.
Oh yeah, I think he wants to win a Super Bowl in Detroit, but I also think that he's looking at situations as well.
Yeah.
Like, do I want to come to a team that's not going to be good for a while? Now, I mean, look, if I'm interviewing for the Saints job, I was like, look, I want a 6-year contract, 7-year contract.
Yeah, that way if it doesn't work,
I at least got my guarantee in there.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that this coaching search. I hope this coaching search goes for a little bit, and it's starting now, and they're able to talk to like Mike Vrabel. You know, I know you can't talk to
coordinators right now.
Mm-hmm. But like at least have an idea of like, hey, this is our guy. This is our guy. Like these are our guys right here, and at least 3 of them would be like, if you tell me yes, I'll do it. Not, I'll just take it because it's the only job left.
Exactly. Well, let me get your opinion. How do you feel about college coaches? There's not a lot out there that I would be like could jump up and do it. What do you think about the idea if they find a guy that they think can build something here, like giving him a 7-year deal and just being like, look, build it,
like a Deion Sanders?
Exactly. But
no, I I don't
The only
know.
problem with Dion is I feel like it has to be a package deal with Shador, and if Shador comes in and sucks, then
Yeah,
you got to
again, but
build.
like you said, it would be entertaining.
It would be absolutely entertaining. Are you kidding me?
I didn't
We
even
get
think
rid of
about him as a possibility.
dude. We would get so much of the less of so many press conferences where we wouldn't have to hear, well, we got to execute better, and we did some good stuff.
No, but you know what we would get, which would be fantastic for a Saints coach. Hey, remember that thing you wrote about us? Yeah, just I got receipts.
Yeah, exactly.
I got receipts.
And then him playing against Atlanta. Are you kidding me?
And then if you're in the dome, you get a quick speech from him like on the video board where like they do the team intro. And then he walks up and goes, "Hit my darn theme music." And then stand up and get Grunk starts playing again. You get everyone hyped on that song again.
Do it, you coward, Mickey. Do it. On that note, I feel like see here, Joey, after talking this out, I feel a little bit better. We were a little somber at the beginning.
Yeah.
You just gotta find somebody to talk to, man. And I appreciate you. Let me vent a little bit. And for all of our listeners, let us come in here, complain about the Saints, complain about the Yankees, talk some background sports stuff, and go from there. We appreciate it. It's good.
And there was stuff we missed. There's stuff that we didn't talk about this episode. Like I could have brought up the shit show that happened in Brazil for the F1 race. I could have talked about the shit show that was the end of the Martinsville race for NASCAR. I could talk about is there a new update on this lawsuit? No, there's not a new update on the lawsuit yet. Actually, no, there is. They wanted an injunction to do next year to run under the rules.
Yep.
NASCAR said no, that's not happening. So,
ooh, man. So
Denny Hamlin better hope that his driver who made the championship 4 wins a championship, because that might be the only championship 23-11 wins.
So Joey, so what it sounds like we may need to drop another episode. Who knows?
Possibly, but I don't know that there's enough info yet.
But anyway,
we got to get it. It's got to go to court. Once it goes to court, then we'll have an episode.
What I meant was an episode to
recap
all the things we didn't cover in this episode. Yeah. But Joey, I like where your head's at.
We also quick trivia.
Yep.
Name me a franchise. Actually, can I still say that? Hold on, let me check before I commit to this. I was going to say, name me a franchise that won 2 games to start the season and hasn't won a game since. That's not the Saints. I can't say that anymore. I can't say that anymore.
No. The Texans.
No, this year. It's not in football.
Oh, this year.
It has changed, but I can't say that anymore. I'll give you a hint. They're owned by Gail Benson. Still.
The Pelicans.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
if you take out the last game, which they won, both the Saints and the Pelicans won the first 2 games of the season. Everyone was feeling good about it, and then they lost 4 straight. Except the Saints won 7 straight.
Speaking of the Pelicans and the Saints, can we check out who the hell the medical staff is? Like, or what? Like, what are we doing? Or can we give our guys some extra calcium pills or do some extra stretching or something? Like, what is going on?
Do they still have the guy that?
No.
Okay.
No, I know who you're talking about. That dude got shipped off. Like, I know he did.
You say that? He did my wife's knee surgery.
Ooh.
Tell me how good I felt about that.
You should not feel good about it.
It's even worse.
It's not a whole lot worse.
But my in-laws are like, yeah, but Ochsner defended him, and I'm like, that's great. He still misdiagnosed a player.
I mean, Johnny Cochran defended O.J. Simpson.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't make it right.
I'm pretty sure Aaron Hernandez's lawyer defended him. Does that make him right?
I need to finish that show. By the way, not a bad watch so far on that one.
All I've heard about it is that Kirk Minahan plays, I think, a scout in that, and I kind of want to see it to see if he has any speaking lines, because I would just laugh my ass off if I have to hear Kirk Minahan try to be a scout.
So the main thing is I'm going to say about the show, you definitely have to take yourself out of them looking like the players, the people are supposed to look like, supposed to be playing, because Gronk doesn't look anything like them. The Tim Tebow one's hilarious.
I feel like if you
got to take yourself out of that.
Well, I think they do that on purpose, because if you have these people look like and act like these people, they're going to want a cut. So if you,
I mean, they're using their name,
but if you make them a caricature of themselves, like that's like, oh, that's clearly not them, then maybe it helps.
No, so it's not like that. It's literally just they don't look like the people. Like the guy. Do me a favor. Go watch.
I saw the reveal for Bill Belichick, and I wanted to cackle.
Have you seen the Gronk one yet?
I haven't seen the Gronk one yet.
Go do me a favor. Go look at that one, and then just let me know. And you're like, oh my god, like it is just. You talk about character. That guy like clearly tried to go over the top with Rob's like, ooh kind of persona.
Oh, like the one where everyone thought he was
Caveman.
just like a caveman. Yeah,
pretty much. But on that note. Man, this has been a very good therapy session, Joey. I feel weight has been lifted. Now we can focus on the rest of our fantasy football seasons, the Pelicans that are starting up now, and our Stars, man. Let's hope for some good things that go on through. I know. All right. I got you, Joey. Go ahead. Jump on it.
They had a trip to Finland recently, and they went over. But that's because they played the defending champions in both games. So I'm not mad that they lost. It was as Razor put it, it was a trip of learning.
Oh, yeah, it's still early in the season.
So they know what it's going to take, because I have a feeling Florida's going back.
They look good, man. They look really good.
I tell you what, I like Paul Maurice as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
I as unpopular opinion in the NHL, I like Matthew Tkachuk. I wish there was a point where he was going to come to the Stars, but he chose Florida, and I don't disagree on why he chose Florida. But it's one of those teams where I look at it and I'm like, if I would have played them in the Stanley Cup final and I would have lost to them in the Stanley Cup final, I wouldn't have been mad that I lost to them.
Because they're that good.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I mean, I get it.
They're a team full of, what's the word I use? They grind it out. They're pests. They're a team of pests.
It's a great way to describe it, man.
And not in a bad way. Like, in hockey, you want someone on your team that's a pest.
Yeah.
The Corey Perrys, the Brad Marchands, the Matthew Tkachuks. Like, you want those guys. And that show 100%. On Prime, I forget what it was called, Face Off. That kind of, hearing, like, kind of getting to know Matthew Tkachuk a little more. I kind of gained a little more respect for him. It is really funny because he lives in Florida. He drove his golf cart from his house to the rink for
awesome.
skate, and he went to leave, and he couldn't leave because it was pouring its ass off in a typical Florida summer rain. So he's just like, well, I just got to tough it out. I'm like, man, that's got to suck.
Oh, dude.
And we haven't even talked about the fact that we don't know where the Tampa Bay Rays are going to play next season.
No. So there's a lot more. We're definitely going to have to drop some more episodes to figure out to sort some of this stuff out.
Yeah.
Is there anything before we go, Joey?
I got nothing.
Well, on that note, y'all keep it classy. We're bringing back the happy music now. Enjoy the rest of your week as Joey plays you on a nice little light show that he's got going on here. Stay classy. Keep watching the sports, and we will be back. Later.
Woo.